lobby 4, shouldn't say division yet, here for the second preseason race at Miami. Only 15 drivers because some people can't be arsed to turn up apparently. At least for a bit of an angry rant, obviously. But we just like people to, turn up and not be late with their notice or be late to join the lobby. I should have Jav still joining. He's joining Cully, which is all good for him. And yeah, beyond that, we're gonna have a look and see who is gonna join Ultimate Master Pro. Is another one, J Luke, I think Joe Victor, and there should be one more around that. Ghost Recon is actually out, so maximum 19 if people decide to join in Cully. But it's obviously not ideal for people watching back. And yeah, us as organizers trying to set this up. Anyway, the 15 are here right now, and Jav as well. All good. And yeah, we're gonna get underway here. And gonna see how people fare up against each other. It's a very difficult track. Obviously, it won't be on the actual calendar, as it would not be raced on a preseason. We're gonna have a look. This time, expecting the likes of IAT Crack to be at the front, Steban as well, having a strong showing in France, and potentially James as well. James Head is here. See, was in lobby 3 last time out, so we're gonna see how he fares around lobby 4. Goes in the UK, could also always be up there. And beyond that, we don't know a few drivers. We know every driver racing, but we're not as familiar with their pace yet on this game, which could also always change. So we're gonna have a look, and maybe someone will surprise us as well. Who knows? Gonna go out for the first run in qualifying, seeing the Aston Martin at the front of the queue, and that will actually be Major Falcon, the German. He's back after missing out on last season, I believe. Raced here quite a few seasons, so we're gonna have a look how he's faring as well. It looked very good in one of the social races, and then kind of disappointed myself for France, but you know what, maybe it was one of his worst tracks. We're gonna have to see and look how he fares around Miami. More difficult, especially with that slow sector at the end of the lap as well, which is not the easiest part to get through. Very tight, very narrow, and it's definitely going to be an issue for certain drivers as well. Easy to cut, easy to invalidate, easy to just lose a bit of your wing as well if you turn a bit too quickly. Just go more with the German. You see, there's barely any space to move. That's he does that quite nicely actually on his out lap. Obviously on the flying lap it's a bit different. So as we go on board nearly here, with Major Falcon to start the first lap. Let's have a look how he does. It's heading down towards the final proper corner, I'd say, the one that isn't flat. So 17, excellent for 18, and then the 19 right-hander DRS is open, and we're gonna have a look how he does into turn 1, using as much of the track as possible, third gear. And now open up for turn 2 and turn 3. He's quite early on the fall. Decent run through there. He's then into turn 4. Holds the 7th, down to 5th, up to 6th, back into turn 6, 7, and now into turn 8 here. Long left-hander as we open up the straight. As we have a few more kings that count as corners as well. I'm not too sure where they are. 30.3 for the first sector is definitely not bad though for the German. So heading on towards one of the main opportunities to overtake in the race. So breaking down into towards turn 11. Third gear, not too bad. Into 12, and I believe this left-hander 13. And heading through this chicane very slowly, as you can see, is not ideal to run through. And now into 16 already as we open up for the sector 2 split. 1 of 3.4. There's definitely going to be some quicker times, I reckon. But it's not too shabby from himself so far. DRS open, and we're reaching speeds up towards 345 kilometers an hour. And we go down into 17. They're very, very difficult braking zone, as he missed the apex quite a bit, but not too bad on the exit. We go for 18 and 19 over the curb, and a 128.9. You know, it could be a lot worse, as we see Ultimate Mr. Fur has now joined. I think he should be a bit informed that he should join in time. Lars Novot has done 28.3, which actually is a solid time. As Swip slots in with a 30.8. Actually not enjoying this track so far. Robert also 30.8, too close together. Jay Hinks 28.4, solid time from him. As one of the Williams guys, that will be Jamie Metz, is coming up and sets a 29.8. Ferrari across the line. United Bosnia 28.9. As Crack goes himself into P3. I think it's one of the Red Bulls, just James, just coming toward the end of the lap, might have invalidated. Steban 28.1, took the pole position last time out in France in Lobby 4. But then dropped back a little bit in the race. Partially maybe due to his strategy, but maybe he is, you know, a bit of a quality merchant, as they like to say, as he does have a 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking, which is, I guess, very unfortunate. The game likes to do that. But yeah, have to see. Sabera did message me on PS, I've just noticed. So Goshi K gets himself into P7 with a 29.2. One of the McLarens, it's Energetics just ahead with a 28.9, slotting in the midfield of this so far. You can have a look, one of the Aston Martins just coming back to the pits. I think most guys are. Slayer is towards the end of his lap, coming through sector 2 actually. Maybe not close to the end. He's coming for 14 and 15, safe and valid for the McLaren. As James has retired from the session, coming through the chicane there. So he gets a bit of slipstream Slayer. It didn't look to really do that much for him. Come by. As he's coming down towards this last proper corner into turn 17. Can be quite difficult to get the braking zone right, but not too bad from the Dutchman. As he's accelerating out of turn 17 into 18 and into 19 across the line. Ticket sides 29.8, slots himself into P10. And that is at least a valid banker on the board for him. Getting the spin off Mr. Pearl on track as well. So he should have at least 17. And let's hope Jayla, because he's been alright in the past. Yeah. So he joins as well. Joe Victor, I have no clue where he's at. In that sets goes Recon not joining. Jav joining a bit later in qualifying, hopefully. At least he's communicated about it, which is always better. It's a bit of a dull point, obviously, now, but we're going to look at the fin in a little bit of time. The Miami is a bit of a weird track. There's a lot of different aspects to the car. So Jav has joined there, so thanks for joining. To you, Javier Soriano. Yeah, the fin coming through 17. You can just, like, the first sector is a lot of high-speed corners, fully inspirational finesses. Then the second sector is a long straight combined with a very slow section, and the third sector is basically that as well. That's Mr. Pura heads through turn number 2 and 3. We're gonna see how he fares if he keeps his sides to the wall here. And I come down towards turn 4. Just gonna be a bit wide there, a bit away from the apex. With 5 and 6 into 7 and 8 now. Just double all left hander. They get a bit wide. I think he might have snapped his wing a little bit there, but he is valid. So let's see if he keeps on going. 30.8. Can definitely be improved upon. Just on not taking the ultimate line. Sorry for the fun. Not intended. As the fin heads down towards turn 11. Again, very difficult braking zone, especially if you take that bit of the patent curves. They seem to actually lose a bit of grip. It almost feels like it's a wet track at times. As the fin heads through turn 14 and 15. And now down to 16 to end off this slow, difficult section. 1 of 3.7. I think the second half of that second section was actually decent enough. It was just Slayer put in a 29.8 with a slightly slower time. So I think he can get himself in between Ghost UK and Jamie Metz. I'm gonna have to see if that is actually the case. Get a bit deep into 17, needs to avoid the wall down the exit. Enjoy his countryman Bottas do that in real life, go a bit wide there and just losing grip, but as I predicted, gets himself a P9, and that is definitely not too shabby from the Finn at all. So many drivers are now making sure they get their second runs in. I'm just gonna have a look. So Major Falcon hasn't quite improved to Sector 1, so let's see if anyone else has. Lars is 4 tenths up on his time. So let's see, that actually would be very quick from the Haas. So Jav is just joined in there. Dutchman going through turn 12. It's looking actually quite tidy here as he heads down through turn 13, 14 and now 15. And this is looking fairly committed from the Haas driver here. As he accelerates out of there, half a second up. This should get him into the 27th. Should he not mess up the final sector and the final proper corner in the hairpin in turn 17. Going to brake now around the 100 meter boards. Flip the curb on the inside, not too bad. And now exit onto turn 18 and 19. And I think this should be pole for now. 27.9, very solid. And let's see if anyone else can top that in this session. As we're looking through, I think Bosnia is about to start a lap. One of the Alfa Romeos come to the end of the lap. That's Muspur just coming back in. Jamie Metz is on another lap, I think. Looking at his ERS, so he might be on an improvement. We're gonna have to see. Car in behind as well on the Astons. I think that's Swip Jamie Metz into P9. Swip just starting a lap, I think, and one of the Alpines coming here as well. And that's Jay Hinks 27.6. Brilliant lap from the Alpine. And that's a very good lap. Quite struck by that. Harry Noir only 30.5. He's going to want to improve later on as well. Stepan, I think, just starting a lap, so keep an eye on him as well. With the Mercs coming towards the end of their lap. I think that's Robert slightly improving, if I'm not mistaken. I think he actually, improved from where Swift was eventually. About almost a second actually, so not too shabby for him. And the Red Bulls, Goshike actually 7 tenths up. This could be a solid time for the Englishman as he comes across the line. P4, 28.5, and that's definitely solid enough for now. Slayer, the end of his lap as well, but I think he should have a start one. In all fairness, one of the Mercs, that would be IT Crack. Even showing so far. France, he got P2 in qualifying, dropped back a bit in the race, but he put himself into P3 for now, and that's not too bad for the Mercedes at all. I think Ivo just, actually that's United Bosnia, I think, just ending his lap. Yeah, he didn't improve though, so that's unfortunate for him. Swip coming towards the end of his laps. Let's see if he can improve, and that's 30.8, taking a bit of a title line on the exit as he slides through turn 18. Must have touched the curb a bit too much. Comes across the line, does improve to 30 flat. There's definitely some more time, especially in the final sector in that lap anyway. I haven't seen Jav out on track just yet. We're gonna have to see how this is gonna go for now. So yeah, we do have to remember Stephen has a 5 plays grip penalty. I don't think we'll get a racer just because it's pre-season, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's the call of Swip out here, the organizer of Lobby 4, Division 4 in the actual season, so you can state that quite profoundly. Just looking around if anyone is actually on the lap still. Bosnia doesn't seem to be. Crack just obviously improved. Gershike doesn't seem as he goes into the pits. So we're going to have a look at Slayer, who is, gets, actually, I think he touched the wall just about there. But he's 5 tenths up, so if that wasn't too much of a mess up, he does improve into P10. It's not too bad for him, but again, last sector he'll have some more time in that. That's just looking through. Swift was 5 tenths up, but has invalidated, so I think he's going to come back into the pits. Mr. Puro is just about to start a lap as well, so he's a bit out of sync because of joining late, but have a look if he can improve on that 29.4. Obviously, started lap didn't look amazing, but had some tighter section as he attacks turn 4 a lot more now. So turn 5 as well as he comes through 6, 7, and 8 down to 4th gear. It's going to be quite difficult to get the power down, but 4 tenths up for the Finn. And no mess up on the exit this time, so he's going to look to improve on his 29.4 in P11 as of right now. Go to the cinematic cameras, heading down towards turn 11. Does seem to use the track decently, as these cameras didn't really show that, to be honest. We've seen through the stadium section now into turn 13 and 14 and 15, as he hops over the chicane here and there. I'm going to go through 16 now, accelerating out of it, and again 4 and a bit tenths up, so you gain a little bit of time in the sector 2. And this could put him towards the light of Bosnian Energetics. Maybe a bit of time in the final, turn 17 anyway. As he heads down. Joe Victor has joined, even though it's a bit late, as Mr. Purr goes way too deep. And I think that is the mess up that we were talking about. I don't think he's going to improve on his time too much, as he heads late into the pits and decides to call it quits on that lap. As yeah. We'll have to see if that is going to be the thing to do. It's 3.5 minutes remaining in the session. And it's Jay Hinks out on top with a 27.6. Very impressive laps, it has to be said. Lars definitely not too shabby either on a 27.9, with Crack and Steban on both on a 28.1. Not on 21, that'd be very quick. Might get the F1cheats.com hacked out. We'll have to see. But Lars seems to be furthest along on the out lap. He's going to have to be wary of the traffic here as he heads down towards turn 17 to start his lap. Let's go on board with the Dutchman, because that first lap looked actually quite solid. As Joe Victor has now joined in the Haas as well. Let's hope he can do a run at the end. The Dutchman is open up the throttle. Let's see how he does, heading down towards turn 1. He brakes on to third gear into turn 1, accelerating out of it, 4th, and now into 5th. A car on the apex there, has to be careful of it, just let avoid it, keep the full throttle, heading down towards, I think it might be turn 5, I'm not too sure on the corner numbers here, but for the S's, getting through 6th gear and keeps it nice and tidy. Another car letting him through there, coming through turn 8, with the apex a bit slightly up in his time though, so let's see if he can find some more time in sector 2 or 3. But he's been champion of Division 5 before. Must have been on the 2020 game. I couldn't tell you exactly what season. It must have been season 4 or 5. As an organizer, I do apologize, because I should know that. Sending through turn 12. And now through 13, 14 and 15. Let's see if he can keep his balance. Yes, he taxed it quite a lot. But accelerating out of turn 16, a 10th and a bit up, almost 10th and a half, and this should bring him towards a solid 27.7, 27.8 sort of era, unless he has some more time to find in this final corner. He tapped the inside curb a little bit. Let's see if he can avoid doing that. He tries for it, so it's going to be too bad, but this looks a little bit better. Can he challenge Daying's time at the front? Esteban is retired from the session now. 27.7. And brings him half a tenth off Jay Hinks' time so far, just in behind one of the McLarens. I think that's Slayer just about to start a lap. A lot of people are obviously just about to start a lap, but I know there were a few on the lap already. I'm just going to have a look through. So, also Javs coming towards the end of his lap, or to the middle of it. Robert just starting a lap as well as Mr. Puro. Energetics, I think, has just crossed the line to start another lap, with one of the Red Bulls Ghost UK as well doing that. As we're heading down towards the final few runs, 30 seconds left in the session. I'm going to see who gets out on top. Going to see one of the Astons come towards the end of his lap. I think that might be Major Falcon. So actually, no, Swip is up in this time, 29.3. Solid time from the Dutchman, puts him into P10. United Bosnia across the line, P5, 28.1. Should say. The other Ferrari coming across the line is Ibo, 31.1, one of the Mercs. Just about to start his lap, I believe. Jav coming towards the end of his lap, and that is going to be at 55.2, so not too competitive, has to be said. As the flag has been out, and now Major Falcon, I think, just about missed that out. 28.6, I don't know if he improves on his time. Jay Hinks did not. He did a 27.7, so for now that's going to be the pole time, but let's see if anyone else can do it. Joe Victor also was too late. Seeing one of the McLarens come to us, and a lap of that Slayer just about spinning out of the final corner. As one of the Williams that Jamie met, he is down on his time, so I don't expect an improvement. Not quite, indeed. One of the Mercs, that is Robertson 29.8, slight improvement. The other McLaren, Energetics 4.5 tenths up, bit of a slide, bit of a wobble on the exit there. Come through turn 18, and now across the line 28.5. One of the Haas drivers, that'll be, I think, Lars once again, just ending his run. Goshike is invalidated, so he is not going to improve. Swift doesn't look like he's improving either. I'm just going to look at IIT Crack. But he's also invalidated. So I think this should be your starting grid here today. Harry Noirk, potentially an improvement. Getting a little bit of slipstream here from, I think that's Jaff. He can't be too far off. I don't know if he's getting actual slipstream here, the Greek. Let's see if we can improve on a 29.9. Heading through turn number 17. Good exit for the Greek. And a few positions would be nice for him, I think, across the line, as he put himself in P14. Just about. So Jav actually did improve on his time, 29.4 as well. So they're going to lock out that 7th row. Yeah, that should be your starting grid. 2 at the front, look a bit clear. Then a group of 3 on the 28.1 with another group in the mid-28s now. And then it's a group from Jamie Met all the way down to Harry Newark, only separated by 2 tenths. And a few back marks to the back. Just gonna see how we're gonna go. So, yeah, just informing, should not be a restart. It's unfortunate for Steban if he's listening into the stream. However, it's still pre-season and we can still see your pace quite well from down further in the grid. Yeah. It's unfortunate for him. As we're just going to have a look and see. So yeah, Jay Hings and Lars at the front, then Krak and Steban on the 2nd row. Bosnia in 5th, then Goshi K with Energetics and Major Falcon in 7th and 8th. J-Met and Swip running out the top 10, with Slayer and Mr. Puro just in behind, and Jav and Harry Noirk filling out a very banterous 7th row. Robert and P15 and Ibo in P16, with James who crashed out early in 17th, and Joe Victor who joined late in P18. So yeah, after all, we did get underway, and we're gonna have to see if the guys who are quick in qualifying can maintain their pace into the race. Obviously, just to note, no formation lap, so be wary at the start, and hopefully don't mess that up, just because there's a few glitches still with that. At least the tire wear glitch, considering different cars having different amounts of tire wear, has been fixed. In terms of strategy, I'm not too sure. You can do a 2-stop here, you can do a 1-stop here, and a different amounts of tires and compounds, and there's a lot of variation possible here. We're going to have to see how these drivers are going to choose that. Personally, I did a 2-stop myself, but I know the quickest ones were on a 1-stop medium soft, but that requires a lot of tire saving, and you need to be capable of doing that without spinning around and doing that going into a wall. So yeah, we're going to have to see how people fare around this racing race. As we're getting underway, 5 red lights are going to come on. Can Jay Hinks maintain his pole position down towards turn 1, or is Lars going to challenge him? It looks to be that Jay Hinks is on the way quicker, and he's going to maintain his lead quite defiantly, as we're seeing Lars hold P2. Good start from Bosnia in behind with Steven. I think he always dropped down due to his penalty. We're going to have a look at the tyres in just a second, as we see a few hards, few mediums, and 1 soft, and Mr. Puro in P10. So he's going to be coming up the grid quite quickly. So we're heading down through the S's now. The top 3 seems to be away. Goshi K swapping in P4 with Bosnia, Falcon, Energetic in behind. Mr. Puro and Steven going side by side. As Mr. Puro is also looking down the inside of Jamie Met, as Jamie Met is on the hards, and that is not going to be ideal for him. Coming through, Mr. Puro, the Finn, is he going to be able to attack a bit of a train in behind? You have a look, James that's coming through the field as well. Another one we should look out for. Obviously, as he's coming through, as he's storming past them all. He's into P11 already. As he goes a bit deep on the brakes. I think on the hard we find Joe Victor as well, trying to move through on Jav there. I think a little bit of contact here and there, but it shouldn't be too bad. It's a Swift has actually gone round. That's unfortunate for him. He's going to have to try and recover for the rest of this race. As It seems to be majorly clean. I'm just going to have a look around if there's any spotted visible damage. I'm not seeing a lot of it. If anything, it's minor. But at the front we have Jayhings on the mediums who's starting on us, and then Lars and Crack on the hard. So I do expect some one-stops here. But you never know. Yeah, he says the fast lap 33.4, very solid time. As we see Roberts getting past Jav, as we see Slayer going around once again. He did this in qualifying, kept out of the wall this time out, but not ideal for the McLaren whatsoever. Swippish just coming into pits. He might have damage then, in that case, which is very unfortunate to see. And let's hope he can recover in some way. As we're heading through the SS lap 2, a few spins at the back. I think Joe Victor has gone round. He's recovering just about on the mediums. Must have just touched the curb or lost it on traction, I'm not too sure. James is getting past Steban this time out. Steban not quite been able to make those mediums work so far. When James on the hard, up to P10 is a very good start. I'm just going to show you the position change if I can find it. There we go. Yeah, 7 places up. Mr. Purr obviously kind of expected with, you know, being on the softs. James having a bit of a slide there on the exit, and that kind of allows Steban to go back through. Let's see, go back up to P10. These two still fighting it out. Mr. Purr, I think, has gone through quite easily in the end. But James on those hards just can't find a grip, and you've seen a bit of contact. Gotta be careful here, as it's quite easy to just hit your wing off or anything like that. Goshige is caught up to the back of IAT Crack, as he's gonna move down towards turn 17, late in the brakes. He's gonna hold that. I don't think so. Crack has got a decent exit on those hards. There's a tight line from Goshige. And Jayhings in the fast lap with a 31.3 is a very solid time there from the Englishman. Goshige down the inside of IAT Crack. Is he going to be able to commit to that properly? Yes, he can, and he's into P3. Big gap up ahead to Lars, who is also maintaining his pace quite well on those hards, who aren't fantastic at the start. So, yeah, quite surprised that he done that quite well. Joe Victor, as we still saw someone go off. I think there was Jav. Let's hope he doesn't have any damage. Yeah, his left end plate is gone, so if he's wanting to do anything, he's going to come into the pits. I think Crack has made another mistake, or he's lagging a lot. I think he is lagging just way too much. I can't predict it. I feel for Bosnia if he's just coming through there. Let's hope that's not a recurring issue. But yeah, that didn't look amazing. As James is getting past Jamie at this time out, and I think he's got it done. He's drained all of his ERS already, so put himself in a bit of a weaker position as he's heading through turn 14 and 15 and heading over those curves. Quite difficult, especially in the race with a heavy car. I guess you can kind of take it a bit easier if you don't have to push as much, and kind of keep it easier. As Crack is coming back, his Ghost UK this time out, and it should be a pretty decisive move. Yes, it is. As he's into P3 now. Jay just extending his gap, 2.1 seconds to Lars, who's got 2 seconds on Crack. I think Lars had a bit of a slide in the exit of turn 17, but that does happen to the best of us. As just looking around, if you can find any battles. Mr. Burrow obviously got quick off the start, but the softs aren't really the best race tires. Robert and Jaff are coming into the pits. Must both have damage, I presume, and they're going to fix their wings this time out. At least Jav does and Robert does as well, as we can see there. Just looking in behind, Lars obviously through 62% ERS. Crack has got Ghost UK in the back, and Bosnia and Falcon and Energetics all on this train for P3. I'm gonna have to see if Ghost UK can pass IT Crack. Coming down towards turn 11. Let's see, DRS is open. He's looking towards the inside. Kind of half committed into, but he's not going to hold on to that. If you want to go first, United Bosnia is looking towards the inside. Good out of space left. That was a very opportunistic move, but luckily they've come out alive. Jack's got a 3-second time penalty at the end of this. Right. Looking around if Goshi can come back and Crack. These two are having a bit of a ding-dong battle here. As he is coming back and making his mediums work the best he can. Up into P3. Energetics looking for a move on Falcon. So they go side by side, very deep on the brakes from the Dutchman, but very nicely done actually. And he's gone through into P6. Steban in behind as well, coming through on Mr. Puro. And a bit of a slide there, but I think he's just about got that done. Mr. Puro, is he going to be able to come back at him? The Finn looking at it, DRS, but wants to stick him behind. And not looking to overtake right now. I see, yes, a bit of a wobble on the exit of turn 1. Crack still remaining close to the back of Goshike, and I feel like we're going to see the repeat happening as Jav is moving through on Robert in P15. Let's see, Goshike on the exit. Quite nicely, actually. Got a bit of a gap. Is it going to allow Bosnia to get anywhere close? No, because the slipstream in the DRS is going to be powerful enough to keep Crack within the range. He needs to be. I don't think he's going to overtake right here, though. Harry Noir is moving through on Jamie Met, and we saw Mr. Puro coming back at Steban. This time out on the softs. He's having a really good little battle. You see Steban coming through as well. Again, very good quali pace for the Dutchman, but might disappoint a little bit in the race. I don't know if he's just been caught up in the battle a bit too much, but that might actually just be, you know, not on the pace right now. So you're looking at Joe Victor coming through and Swift. I'll have a look at his race circle later. As Energetics is trying to make more moves, this time out on United Bosnia, and that should be a set move and done. Same way he did it on Major Falcon last lap, as we see these two once again side by side. Steban holding on to that position this time out, but Mr. Puro is looking to come back at him, potentially down towards turn 1. Let's have a look. So he got the DRS, but I think he's lifting off a little bit just to stick him behind, make the soft work. I'm gonna have a look at that. Gonna pair off he's just struggling a little bit much in turn 1 there. James is trying to come through this field as well, but after the first few laps, drains his battery potentially a bit too much. Robert is coming through on Jav here into turn number 17, though back through is the Romanian, as the Spaniard is trying to get underneath him, and is actually going to be able to do that. Still side by side to go for turn 18 and 19, as Jamie Metz picked up a 3-second time penalty right there. Is Jav going to be able to hold on to that position as we look through turn 1, as Crack is moving back through on Ghost. That's yeah, I could cover that, but we've seen it happen a few times, so you kind of know what's going on at that point. I think for 14 to 15, I think Lars is trying to gain back a little bit on Jay Hings. I think those hearts have now come into the rhythm, and Lars is looking like he could be on for a race. But if he can keep those hearts going a long time, move towards the mediums at the end, I predict. As the Energetics is trying to move through on Goshike this time out. Again, same straight, and we'll see the same move, I reckon, as he breaks deep into it. Goshike trying to hold on, but he's not going to be able to. He goes too deep and has to concede the position there to the Dutchman. It's down to P5, and let's see if Energetics can actually get past Crack here and potentially maybe even get rid of this, you know, back few guys. And yeah, if he can get closer to Lars and James potentially, those mediums will mean their prime working window. Bit of a tire wear thing going on in this game, where you know, you have rounds. It depends how long you go onto them. Around when the tires hit about 25 to 30%, they have a little bit of a drop off, and that's definitely noticeable for some people, especially the mediums should have it around now. I suspect, as we're seeing the Dutchman close up on the back of Crack. Is he going to be able to move it into here? Crack is trying to hold that around the outside. They're not quite able to move through. Energetics has to wait for that, as we see some yellow flags. Jav going around. As we see a freeway battle here. James had Mr. Puro and Steban, as Mr. Puro's softs are just out holding on. James seeing that position once again. Steban as well, just holding on that. Just not having the race pace right now to compete with the front and get back up, which is very unfortunate. See Energetics now moving through and Crack. I think he's got that one done, but on the outside, is he going to be able to do the same thing? Does have the mediums, better traction should be available for the Dutchman. Let's see he coming out of turn 18, and yes, he's ahead, as we see United Bosnia and UK actually having a bit of a wobble behind. We've seen Energetics trying to get back through. The Crack has actually held on to that position, quite surprisingly. United Bosnia is through on Goshike, as Major Falcon has dropped back a little bit. See James Head and Steban going side by side. Crack has actually spun round through turn 2 and 3. Gonna see coming up to here as we see these two side by side. Steven just about holding on to that position in P9 for now. Let's see if Crack has any damage. Let's hope not. But I fear that he must have some. Doesn't look like it actually. He might have just kept it out of the wall. At least no major damage. He does go very wide coming through turn 8. So be careful rejoining there. Just a lack of grip coming through there. As we see J-Mech coming into the pit. He's gone on to a fresh set of mediums. As we see Bosnia gaining on Energetics, going very deep. And he is getting a 3-second time penalty for A's efforts. And B just about to lose time. Just about to avoid Energetics luckily as well. So I'm sure he didn't mean it. But yeah, bit of a mistake there from the Swede. Bosnian. First with both as Robert has actually retired coming through the S's here. I don't know. He's just gone round on the curb, I reckon, and that just sends him as a DNF. So yeah. In the meantime, Lars has gone closer to J Hinks. 1.8 seconds. He still 1.7 for just a second there. But these two look in a class of their own right today. But that can also always just be track dependent. But these two look like they can potentially be up in a higher division. Energetics' race paces looks very, very solid today. He's coming through in 3rd place currently. Doing quite well. As, yeah, he's coming for the S's and he's trying to drop Bosnia behind. Really, he's on the hard, so should still have some life left in his tires, but not quite able to, you know, really make the most of it. And that's going to allow Goshike to have a go at him because Janne Bosnia has lost the DRS of Energetics up ahead. But I think Bosnia has been using on this straight just to keep ahead, just to try and get back in the DRS of the Dutchman. He might succeed at that, as Mr. Pura is trying to move through and crack around the outside. The softs are not going to be at their best and just runs a bit too deep. As he, yeah, committing to P8 for now. See at the front, Crack gets a penalty there, just going a bit too wide on the entry. But yeah, 1.3 seconds now between these two. And have a look if Energetics is close up on these guys as well. It's a good pitch engage as we see some yellow flags. I think there's Ibo going around. Is this? He's just stuck in a position trying to let people through. Coming then into reverse gear and trying to recover the car. He's free of getting rid of Major Falcon. Major Falcon started out very good, but not on it anymore. Finn of Mr. Puro is coming into the pits. As Robert has left the session, not too surprising after his crash. We're seeing mediums being strapped on, so that's going to be a 2-stop, I think, for the Finn. And that might lose him a little bit of time. Just looking through the rest. Let's see, Bosnia is maintaining the gap with Energetics at this time. Energetics looking very solid though. Lost a bit of time for Sector 1 though, so let's see if United Bosnia can come through on Energetics. Let's see, he's going to go down the inside for the move. And is he going to be able to hold that? Side by side they go as we see Goshike having a bit of a moment in mind. More battles going down the back of the field, or the midfield. United Bosnia is going to make that move complete. Very good battling, very good respect between the two of them. Crack has gone through a Major Falcon for P6. He's moving back up. So James and Stepan are still close together. These two have been out of the whole race. Ironware just kind of in the middle of nowhere. As, the same goes to Slayer. Teammate already pitted obviously, and the same goes for Mr. Puro. As we see Energetic come back at Bosnia. So obviously that DRS rate lends itself for countering as well quite well, and defending quite well from Energetics there on the exit. But is that going to allow Bosnia to come back first? He goes UK coming into the pits. That'll be for a set of hards, I presume. As we see Bosnia trying to go back at the Dutchman. Bit of contact, slight bit, but I think Energetics going to keep ahead. Very solid driving from the two of them. Energetics holding that inside, outside this time, but inside for here. And keeps it ahead of the Ferrari right there. Yeah, as predicted, Goshike on the hards. And Mr. Pearl, look at how much time he's gained on that one medium lap already. He's not that far behind Goshike. He was already 5 seconds behind, but it's now down to around 2. So Jav's got a penalty for 10 seconds for corner cutting. I presume that's around the chicane. See Bosnia back on the back of the McLaren of Energetics. As he's moving down towards the inside. Another battle between the two of them potentially. Energetics leaving the gap open. As far as still on the DRS of J Hings, we're going to have to pay attention to that. But Energetics holding on that position with all their life, and he's managed to move through and hold that third position. I think J Hings is just about able to keep him out. No, Lars does have to DRS for this straight. So Jav's retired in the pits, I think. That's fair enough, just not his day right now. Earnhardt moving for a Steban. I think Steban must have had a moment at some point as Bosnia is coming back for an energetic, another ding-dong battle that we've been seeing for the lap straight now. Bosnia this time moves back through, but must have had an illegal overtake for the yellow flags, I think, because otherwise he wouldn't back off like that. Yeah, that's what I presume anyway. Mr. Puro has gone on the back of Goshike actually here. Did Goshike make a mistake, but his tires are not quite up to temperature just yet? With yellow flags, that must be Falcon coming around this time. There must have been some contact between him and someone else around him. Maybe James, maybe Crack. I don't know where exactly he was. That's unfortunate to see for him. Mr. Puro on the back of Goshike. He's going to be able to move through quite soon. See, Slayer going around here once again. He's just not enjoying that last part of the track, I think. As we're seeing for the lead, Lars and J Hings very close together. And those hearts have come into their perfect window. I think J Hings will pick quite soon, unless he's trying to make a medium-soft strategy work. Gonna have to keep an eye on that. Energetics and Bosnia still close together. Energetics currently ahead. After Bosnia let him back through. And Mr. Puro as Goshike are close together. Mr. Puro just maintaining behind right now. Lars has already gone through on J Hings. Apologies for missing that, but it was a pretty simple DRS pass, so not too many worries. Let's see if J Hings is coming into the pit so that he's going to maintain to stay out. Yes, he is. So let's see if he's going to come back at him using the overtake. So is Lars? No, he's not. J Hings trying to move down the inside, back on the Dutchman, but breaks a bit too early, and I think Lars is going to maintain that position coming through turn 2. Can he slip a switchback though? He moves underneath him. Can he get alongside him? Yes, he can. Bit of contact, I think, but not too many issues. His Boston's gone back through on Energetics. A lot happening here. And obviously this track lens for swapping as well. These three close together. Steban, Goshike, Mustapuro. Don't make it 3 wide, just about. Goshike around the outside of Steban. Steban all the mediums. Goshike on fresher hearts is just about able to move through. Mr. Puro is looking for it as well. Overtake enabled. As he moves down the inside, can he hold that? Side by side they come through this section. Steban just about understeering in almost into the fin. But yeah, can't quite do much. Then Mr. Puro is lacking a little bit. But doesn't seem too bad so far. Energetics and Bosnia once again coming through turn 11 and 12. See the flags they were going around. And Energetics not quite able to make the move. James back on the back of the Dutchman. I think he's going to easily move through here. As we see the Englishman coming alongside the half of Lars. And I think there's no competition here. As, the Alpine moves through. Back into P1. But for how long? So Mr. Puro picks up a time penalty potentially through that chicane. J Hings does decide to go into the pits. We see Energetics and Bosnia once again fighting. Let's see, still side by side coming through turn 17. And Bosnia is going to have the better exit, stay ahead, and has the DRS, so he should stay ahead for this time out. And I think Energetics kind of knows that, doesn't look to move through, back through. James on the hard. Let's see how far he's going to be ahead of Goshike. He's just coming up to the straight. Because that should not be too far off. But Goshike obviously put it a few laps earlier. And Goshike, he was around United Bosnia and Energetic. I think at that point about 6-7 seconds behind the lead. And we're seeing right now that he is about 7 seconds behind. So he must have been a bit further behind, I think. Because that undercut would have worked a bit better, I think. But he's also been caught up in a bit of fighting. So I can't touch that too much. Harnoir getting 3-second time penalty as well, which is not too surprising. Given his track record every now and then, just like to look up the red and white lines. But you know, he's maintaining his pace so far decently on those mediums. Mr. Purro is looking to go through and go Shike. Despite Go Shike having DRS, doesn't seem to be able to fight back on those hards. And Mr. Purro on what I think should be a 2-stop, unless he's trying to make those mediums go 21 laps, which, I mean, it wouldn't be impossible, but it's going to be a task to say the least. Mr. Purro is immediately going to look on the back of Harry Noir. I think down the inside he should be able to move through quite easily. Lars is in the pits already, so he's trying to counter. But Energetics, I think, has had a moment here, and Crack has gone through, so Lars moving on to a set of medium tires. I think that might be the right call to try and counter Jay Hinks as soon as you can. Don't let him gain as much time as he can, as Crack is moving back up into the lead. But he's gone too deep, and he's now had to let through both Bosnia and Energetics, with Jay Hinks now catching the back of him already. And he's going to be able to move through. Lars 2 seconds behind, lost a bit of ground, but not too much. Goshike moving through on Harry Noack. And Major Falcon coming into the pits himself, I think, for a set of hearts right there. I'm curious what Energetics is meaning to do here. He's losing a bit of grip on those mediums now. United Bosnia able to move through, and Crack and Jay Hinks probably also being able to move through. No DRS for the Dutchman, so that's going to allow Jay Hinks potentially to get a move on. I think Energetics is not fighting this, just looking at his throttle input as well, just being off it, and yeah, allowing Jay Hinks go through. Might know he's a bit quicker, and get back a Crack later. Just gonna have to see how that fares out. Lars on the back of this as well, so he might be able to get through quite soon as well. And James is still on the back of this. I've not actually noticed this. He's kind of creeped up towards this group, slowly surely, maybe due to the fighting as well. So see a few more battles engaging. Jay Hinks moving through, and looking like he could do a good job there. Lars, though, on his own accord, moving through on Energetics and trying to get back as the Crack is moving into the pits, potentially to set a set of mediums. And Jay Hinks caught up now to Bosnia, the race leader on track, because he breaks quite late, but avoids that quite well. And Lars is now able to, you know, catch up a little bit, because Jay Hinks around this part of the track is not going to overtake Bosnia unless he makes a mistake. I think he's better off waiting for the deer as well. So he potentially crosses back into it. He looks towards the inside. So you have a nice helicopter shot right here. But there you see the Haas in the background as well, moving towards the back of the Alpine. Are they both going to move through on Bosnia? You can have a look. As you see Jay Hinks and Lars, and they both go 3 wide there. Not something I expected. Jay Hinks lays on the brakes, Lars lays on the brakes, Lars lays on the brakes, Lars is through into the lead. And that's a great double overtake there. So Jay Hinks loses the position but gains the position. And yeah, that's a very solid battle between that. Just like to note, Mr. Purro gained so much time currently from that undercut that he's looking to catch Energetics pretty soon. He's already made a pit stop to Finn, so very good undercut by him. I think for Jay Hinks is the case, just try and stick with Lars and hope that his mediums go off a little bit more than his hards do, and eventually try and get back in him. I'll have to see how that's going to fare out though. Let's see, I think United Bosnia coming into the pits. Fastest lap for Lars, 30.7. It's a very solid time there from the Dutchman. Energetics still staying out in the mediums. I think he's trying medium softs. I'm pretty sure he is. So we see Joe Victor, who was round earlier in this race, move him through on Slayer. But yeah, he doesn't look amazingly quick right now. Mr. Burrow and Goshiko still together. I think Goshiko moves back through on the Finn. But seems to struggle a little bit in Sector 1. And given his input, I think he might be on the path. I'd be very surprised if he's on the wheel. As we're looking at Goshike on the back. Still here, those hearts might be coming back a little bit. And they're both catching Energetics. It's quite a successful race. James had picking up a 3-second time penalty. So you see Stevan having a bit of a moment on the exit there, and has hopefully not ruined the front wings. But I think, yeah, James definitely has some end plate damage. Stevan just not able to control his car at that point. That's very unfortunate to see. James has damage. I don't know if Bosnia has damage. We're going to have a look as well. I don't, no visible damage. If it's anything, not too big. But very unfortunate. It's just a bit of a mistake creeps in for the Alpine. And yeah, I think it's ruined James more than it's ruined Stevan in the end. I'm not sure if Crack was involved. I don't think Crack was in any way involved. I think he was too far behind. But yeah, it just looked like Stevan lost some grip on the exit of turn 8 and just couldn't control his car quite well. He looks not beat that quick right now. Just looking through. Goshike and Mr. Peru, and yeah, Energetic still staying out. Ark still staying out. Stevan also still staying out. So I think these guys are doing medium soft. Because otherwise I don't see a reason to go this deep into the race on the mediums, which are tremendously awful right now. So James gets a bit of DRS from Ibo here, that might help him out a little bit. See yellow flag, Swift going around for the chicane. Unfortunate for him, not the greatest race for him either. As Crack is moving through on James, it's obviously James having a bit of damage, not going to help. But yeah, that's very unfortunate for the Red Bull here so far. The other Red Bull on the back of Energetics now, and this is going to form a little bit of a roadblock. Let's see, I want to see how well Energetics can maintain the pace on the softs later on. Because obviously those fresh tyres are going to be so much quicker than everyone else's. At least around, say, the area of Goshike and Mr. Puro. Mr. Puro obviously gonna, I reckon, will pit again. Soft medium would be a very daring strategy from lap 8, but we'll have to see. Goshike moving through on the Dutchman. No contest there, as those mediums from Energetic has deteriorated quite a bit, and I think he's gone in. So on lap 18 for him. He's creeping into the pits, a bit slow, can't lie. But he's a bus driver after all, and I think you'll see some softs being strapped on. I would highly presume so. We're gonna see, yep, there's softs there for the McLaren. Hopefully he has fresh ones, and then he could try to make that towards the end. Stevan is doing the same thing. And I see Jamie Metz coming back in as well. Maybe mediums, maybe softs for him, because he's obviously started on, I don't know where he started on actually. I think he started on mediums, so he might be going softs as well. But I might be wrong. Yeah, wrong. Definitely wrong. Yeah, Jamie Metz actually started on hards. Apologies for that mistake. Mr. Purr on the back of Goshike, these two can't let each other go either. That seems to be a bit of a theme here in this preseason race. So, yeah, it's just unfortunate for James that he's not being able to move through. But look how much Energetics lost to Bosnia in the end. He's going to have to try to gain that all back on the softest compounded tyre, and I don't know if he's going to be able to. So he's trying to bring him up to temperature, but maybe he can surprise us. We'll have to see for the McLaren in his case. Goshike obviously with that undercut is now in the net P3, but you know, you have guys like Bosnia and Crack, and even James is still moving through. He's going to be able to hold on to that. It's about 9 seconds down towards Bosnia. Mr. Puro still up here as well. Not too sure how that's going to go. If he's going to be able to maintain the pace on the mediums if he tries to make it to the end, or that he's just going to delay pit stop towards either softs or mediums. You see Harry Noirk also pitting now to the last one to make his first pit stop. And he's going to go with a set of softs as well, I think. So Jetix is trying to make the most of his softs. And I think we might be seeing a faster lap quite soon in the race. James losing a bit of time for Lars up ahead though, 2.8 seconds, and Lars' face looks tremendous right now. He did the race director for France and already looked quite solid at that point. But this is another level, I think. So we see Swift, I think, being lapped as well quite soon. Just not having the greatest race. A couple of seconds ahead of Ibo still, but beyond that, not too much of an issue. So we see Mr. Puro down the inside of Goshike. Side by side to go. As Steven has retired from the race coming for turn 3. I don't think Goshike has been able to hold on to this. Mr. Puro back up into P3. So he's just messes with the chicane there, cuts it to avoid rejoining dangerously, which is fair enough. Goshike might be able to move back through on the fin fairly soon as he's using his overtake to try and get back closer to the fin and the Alfa Romeo. And I think he's going to be able to move that through down the inside. Late on the brakes. Late enough. I think he's got that one done. Let's see on the exit though if Mr. Burr is able to get anywhere alongside, but not quite. As we see Mr. Burr actually coming into pit, so he's not doing a one stop. I reckon he'll be going on to a set of softs right now. And as we see, yes, Mr. Burr is on a set of softs. It's going to come out behind Energetics quite a ways actually, a few seconds. But has fresher tyres. And potentially still fresh tyres, we don't know exactly. I'm going to have to see if he can catch the Dutchman back up. This has been quite an entertaining race. These two at the front are looking a bit too quick right now, but you know, if you add a few on that haven't attended today, instead of them, I think you have a very, very solid Division 4 grid and a very solid one. And maybe someone else we've been looking at as well. As we see Ibo just moving, getting passed by Goshike. Yeah, these guys are all looking very close together. I see Crack as well. Very solid addition, I think, to the league so far. And looking to maybe go for a championship title. Who knows? Maybe he'll be in D3 as well. Who knows? We're gonna have to see. It's, like to do a bit of speculation and then end up doing completely different. Who knows? Anyways. Looking through, these guys are catching Goshike by quite a big rate, and I think Goshike doesn't have much to fight with on those hearts. Bosnia and Crack just having a better strategy currently, maybe the better pace as well. And they're not that far off the back of the Red Bull, who's just not able to enjoy those hearts as much as he wants to, I think. So you see the Red Bull moving through the assist, and yeah, just look at the rate Bosnia's catching him by. He's going to get DRS from Ibo, I think. Either way. Unless Ibo goes attacking. No, Ibo's moving quite decently here, actually. But he gets DRS. And it's going to allow him to get even closer to the back of Goshike. And I think we should be seeing a move by the end of the lap already. If not right now. Not right now. Not close enough. But then towards turn 17, I think we will see a move on. IT Crack just holding him behind as well. He should come through quite soon. Just see a 5-second pen for Slayer feeding in the pits. And then he's retired, unfortunately. Which is not at the greatest day, but you know, at least thanks for doing the 21 laps. Should give us a decent amount to work with. Ibo getting a 3-second time penalty, just going off track, I think, to let people through. Bosnia is looking for a move on the back of Goshike. Goshike going defensive here. The Ferrari moving alongside. And I think later on the brakes should not have anything to deal with on the exit either. And just the better tyres right now on the mediums. And he's through into P3. Crack and James heads on the back of this as well. And see if either of them can do quite decently towards the end of this race and get past Goshike. Or like Goshike is able to move back through if he can maintain those hards decently. But he'll be quite old by the end of it. Nearly 20 laps he's done on them. That's how it works. It's the fastest lap of the race on the softest set of tyre. And he might still have a chance at moving through on Major Falcon. Looking at the penalties as well. Trying to find those. There we go. No one with more than 3 seconds still racing right now. And yeah, fair enough. Doing quite well here. So it can be quite difficult to maintain on track, especially for that chicane. Speaking of that, Joe Victor has fed in the pit and reckon he'll retire or either go on to a new set of tyres. I hope he goes on to a new set of tyres, but he does retire. Just a bit unfortunate to see. Maybe don't get in full-time seat. So we see Crack on the back of Goshike, making a bit of a mistake for the chicane, which will lose him out on DRS just about. I think then towards turn 1 he might have an opportunity if he can catch enough through the last few little kinks. We're going to look at the ultimate Mr. Purr on the back of Energetics as well. Just on the better softs is been able to catch. And now able to move through potentially as well on the Dutchman. Harry Noir and Major Falcon, same thing goes here. But Falcon on all the hearts is just not been able to keep that pace up well enough. Let's see AlphaTauri moving towards the inside. I think it should be an issue for the Greek. And he moves up into P9. So Ibo and Scott are just moving through as well. Christopher not able to make a move just yet. Neither has Crack. He's on the back of Ghost UK. Major Falcon is obviously going to be able to concede that. So we have yellow flags. I think that's Ibo just a bit off the pace there. You see IoT Crack right on the back of Ghost UK, and it should not be too much of an issue. As he's right on the rear wing of the Red Bull. And we're going to see a 2021-like scenario here as the Mercedes move through quite easily on the Red Bull, and no issues there. So we see Goshika try and look back at him, but I don't think he's able to do anything. Mr. Puro moving back through on the Energetics. These two might be still close together, so they're on the same compound. Obviously Mr. Puro a bit fresher tires, but definitely not too far off, and not as far off as Crack and Goshika are from each other. Though Goshika has maintained quite close and has some more ERS to play with, so he might have one more shot at getting past the Merc. Let's see. Then towards turn 17, I don't think he's close enough here. So he's going to try it? No. He's going to wait. Maybe then towards turn 1 if he can get a better exit. Which is quite difficult to do on those older hearts, and I don't think he's going to have a chance of doing that. Energetics on the back of Mr. Puro though. That is looking a lot closer as the Finn is trying to accelerate out of turn 17. I don't think Energetics is able to get back into P7 right now. He's just going to maintain him behind. Just gonna look. Goshike is already dropped back from Crack now, and it's gonna be it. And he's gonna have to try and maintain his position against his Red Bull teammates, the fact that teammates right now. I believe these are not the actual team for the season. So James, yeah, just with the damage struggling, fair placing, keeping it around on the track, and just finishing the race. He's not that much slower right now than he would be, so he's reduced damage rates towards the actual season. That's going to cost him a lot more. We see Mr. Puro and Energetics moving through. Mr. Puro has actually dropped the McLaren already, so he might have a shot at P6 still here. But has to get a freezing gap on Energetics to actually get that P6 for now. Gonna have to have a look if that's the case. Just all group down towards even Major Falcon is still very, very close to get a Jim. It's just a bit further down the straight. But this whole group from Bosnia all the way down looks very close together. Well, that's good to see. Good to see some racing going on out here. I don't think Goshike, he might be, I think he'll be able to hold on against James. I think James' damage is just about hindering him enough that he can't get back through. And obviously we'll take that into considering divisions as well. Just to note him, if he's going to watch back this stream. So Energetic has moved back into the DRS of Mr. Puro, actually. Had a bit more ERS to play with, so these three towards the end could make for a spicy little battle. Maybe even Goshike if he drops off enough. Maybe. You're going to have a look. So Energetic's just able to move a bit closer back to Mr. Puro. Is he going to be able to get the DRS here? Which is quite important, I think. Mr. Puro might actually be able to get DRS up ahead. Not quite, neither are getting DRS, so the Dutchman is going to have to do it manually and close back up. There's still 3.5 laps to go. And this is the front. Larson, J. Hings just kind of dominated out in front. Bosnian P3. Very solid race from him. Saw some battles with Energetics. A lot of respect between them two. Fair play. Crack in P4 had a bit of a spin round, but he's moved back up into P4. He's kept his pace up decently, so he's run a very solid race. Goshike, very solid race as well. No pins, kind of used to that from him. as he's maintaining P5, I think. And on penalties, he might still be in contention, but he's losing time, obviously, so he'd have to have crack at another pen, then he could jump into 4th. Mind James, yeah, just been screwed over a little bit by the damage. Cost him maybe a chance at the podium here. But solid to come from the back and then up here. Mr. Burrow and Energetics, yeah, they've done their job as well. Energetics is a bit of a peculiar strategy, medium soft. I mean, it's possible, but the mediums didn't look like they had a lot of pace in them anymore. Mr. Burrow on a 2-stop, and yeah, I know the 2-stop can work here quite well, so it's not like he's on a weird strategy and that's why he's ended up low. But the 2-stop just works quite decently here. And yeah, not too surprised, especially in the lobby 4, that he's able to make that work quite decently as he's moving on the back of James Head now. Is he going to be able to get a move done? He's going to look towards the inside, kind of half commits to a move, which puts James off a little bit, and that slows him down, and it's going to, you know, keep him at this. Mr. Burrow actually has a big slide there coming out of turn 12. He's going to upset him a little bit. He's sliding around a lot of the fin, even with his lag. You can still kind of see that his rear end just steps out everywhere. So he head on the final 2 laps. Now let's see, is he going to be able to move through on James here? I don't think he's close enough. So maybe then towards turn 1. If James can't get a good exit here, then I think we'll see a move down towards turn 1 coming up. Mr. Burrow on the exit. Is he going to be able to move through on James Head? Not quite. He actually has a worse exit, so he's going to have to try it another time. He seems a bit stronger through Sector 1, which is not too much of a surprise given James's damage right now. Let's see. Yeah, just on board. You see the understeer, even through there already, it's quite a lot, and I think even for these corners it's going to be even more as you see him just not turning easily, heading over that curb, and yeah, that's it. He's going to let Mr. Burrow through, which fair enough. Expect him to do that. And yeah, on the exit, he's not going to have actually any DRS to work with. So he's going to have to try and manually get back in. That doesn't help at all, I can't lie. Peculiar decision, might just not be looking up at the screen too much, who knows. Energetics, yeah, on pens he's still going to get P6, I think. So obviously Jamie is actually pitting again. He's going to try to get the fastest lap, I think, and that's just about it. But yeah, that's kind of what we use him. If there's no safety car assist, he's usually not that far up, but you know, he can make his safety car of use to himself quite nicely usually, and you know, that's a bit of a surprise. Let's see if James is going to be able to move through this Burrow. And I think so. For now, oh actually, he has a lot of straight line speed. What is that? No wonder he moved through so much on the first lap. He has a very low wing setup. That has to be, because otherwise you don't move that quickly through. Let's see, Mr. Burrow, yeah, even in the DRS, it's just barely able to get back alongside. Just moved through, and James not able to keep it down for us, especially with the damage as well. That was interesting. James is obviously running with a very, very low downforce setup. And he's keeping up the pace with the damage as well. Interesting. You're gonna see just on the straight as well. I'm sorry, quite fascinated by this decision. We'll cut on to Lars and James in a bit. Look how much he gains. Like, that's ridiculous. Anyways, moving on to Lars and James. Lars obviously gonna win this racing race unless he messes up the final corner. Doesn't do that. Very good drive by the Haas driver, and he's gonna come home to take this de facto victory ahead of Jay Hinks, who's also driven a very good race into nearly faultless. Obviously, you have a few mistakes now and then, but no pens, no major issues. Definitely done very well. Bosnia and Crack. Actually, Crack has gone quite close to the back of Bosnia again, as he's sliding through the last few corners. And he's going to finish P4. Goshike is going to be P5. James and Mr. Burrow are still looking very close together. I think James has actually been able to move through side by side to come across the line. And he's going to take P7 because Energetics No Pence moves us at P6, and James at P7, Mr. Purr P8, very close together, them two. Harry Noir P9, kind of driven a very quiet race. Barely seen him. Same with Major Falcon from the second half of the race anyway. As he is in P10. As we see Swift and Ibo just going side by side here on the straight. Quite a good scene. So we've seen Jamie Metz come through as well. Hopefully he can get through. He's trying to go for fastest lap. So let's hope that's not an issue. So yeah, accelerate down towards turn 17. I said, Ibo just hit the wall. Fair enough. Jamie Metz, let's see. Does he get anywhere near the fastest lap? I don't think he's going to, because this was a 30, maybe. 30.7, let's see. What was actually a fastest lap? If I can see. There we go. That's a 30.3 from Harry Noir. And that's what been able to just come across the line there. In style, so fair enough for them. Yeah, that's been a very entertaining race. Running you down the results once again as we get there as well. Driver of the day, it's James Head. He's driving a very good race, has to be said. But the top two have been the standouts for me here today. You're gonna have to see. So we'll move on to the results. Lars with P1 here, J Hinks in P2, then Bosnia, Crack, Goshike, Energetics, James, Mr. Puro, Harry Noir, Falcon, Jimet, Swip, and Ibo. Joe Victor went round early and then just dipped down to P14, DNF'd eventually. Not too impressive by him, honestly. Slayer in P15 struggled with the last few corners. Steban, yeah, been screwed over a little bit by the grip, and apologies for not restarting. But as a pre-season race, we can still test your pace. And yeah, that's that. Jav in P17, credit for showing up eventually. And then Robert just crashing out, unfortunately, so the only one to do that. But I'm going to end this broadcast right here. And hopefully in 2 weeks, we should be back for the season start. Next week, we might have some other things going on this channel. We'll have to see about that. But I thank you for your Verstappen. And it's been League of Europe. Goodbye.